So what we were doing, students? We were done with this. We have to start industrial sector, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's just give it a quick recap what we did from starting itself. So basically this chapter is Indian economy on the eve of independence. Like before getting independence, eve is basically just before, right? So what was the condition of Indian economy like before getting the independence, right? So basically talking about the the Indian economy was very healthy and good before the Britishers, but after Britishers, Indian industries, agriculture sector, everything got in worse situation. Okay, so India had an independent economy before the advent of Edward British rule, but there was a handicraft industry of India, and it was very much famous because of tourism, like the fine qualities and the craftsmanship, right? But after Britishers, it came to it came decline. Okay, and whatever economic policies Britishers adopted, their main focus was protecting and promoting their own country apart. Like they never focused on India, they never helped India to grow, nothing. They only promoted and protected their home country, right? And the impact of these policies was they made India the exporter of raw material and importer of finished goods. Okay, and plus they never focused about the GDP. Because of that, the real GDP was less than 2%, and the real per capita GDP was 0.5% per year. And after that, coming to agriculture sector, there was low productivity. Low productivity means earlier, for example, if you are producing 100 kg of sugar or 100 kg of grains, now you are only producing 20%, right? So low agriculture was there. Why there was low agriculture? First, zamindari system, right? Zamindar, they were very cruel. The main motive was to collect rent no matter what. They have to collect taxes. Plus, they used to, give their the deadlines as well. Like before 10, you have to submit me the tax. Why they used to behave like this? Because if they'll not behave like this, they'll lose their powers. Okay. Second was lack of irrigation facilities. There was no other method apart from rain or apart from rivers. So there was lack of irrigation facilities plus low level of technology, and plus Britishers forced Indians to become the supplier of cash crop. Like earlier Indians were producing food crops, right? The grains and all that. But now Britishers forced Indian to produce cash crops. So cash crops are basically the one which will be selling and you will be getting cash money. The commercialization. Okay, commercialization of agriculture. Right. Next is lack of resources. Lack of resources in India, Indian economy need investment in terracing, flood control, drainage, and all that. And because of that, there was no investment. Most of the people left out the sector. Plus, there were few people who switched to commercial crop like the cash crop, but there were few people who didn't have any land, who didn't have any money. So what they did, basically, they just left the sector. Clear? Till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Now, basically, we'll move to industrial sector. Agriculture sector we are done. Now, industrial sector. So, what happened? Collapse of India world famous handicraft industry. Handicraft industry also come under industrial sector. So, what happened? It collapsed. Okay. So, first is what happened. Basically, the collapse of Indian world. You'll be giving heading hashtag industrial sector during British colonial. And then first, collapse of Indian famous handicraft industries during British rule. So, why this happened? The rule of British India government led to collapse of India's world-famous handicraft industries without contributing in any significant manner to its replacement to modern industrial base. Now, what happened? See, if you want to grow, you need investment, right? So, Indians were very good in handicraft and all that, but Britishers never invested over there, right? Plus, they asked that why you are doing why you are working in this sector, handicraft and all that. You need to switch to modern industries, right? So basically what they do, they replace the handicraft industries by modern base. Okay, because of that, what they do, if I'll not invest over something, then it will collapse, right? So collapse of India's world famous handicraft industry to British rule. Okay, and once it get collapsed, so how it affected Indians? So first, it create massive unemployment. Why? Because most of the people were employed in that handicraft industries. Now it is collapsed, so all people are unemployed, right? So it created massive unemployment in India. Second, it also created a new demand in Indians consumer market. Now earlier everything was being produced in India itself, right? But now our industries, our handicraft industries collapse. We also need product. So we became consumer of the product which Britishers were offering us. Earlier we were not demanding it, but now you have nothing, right? So you will be of course demanding, you will be asking that okay, we want clothes, we want food. So it also creates new demand in Indian consumer market, the increasing import of cheap manufactured goods from Britain. So Britishers used to bring product over here, and they handicraft industries and handicraft products are always costlier, right? They are very expensive. So now people are getting cheap manufactured goods, so they increase their demand. Earlier, for example, 10 people were purchasing it because most of the people were using handicraft, but now handicraft collapsed. So now 80 to 90 people, or maybe 100 on 100 people, are demanding the good which Britishers were providing them. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. So what you will write? You will write, Mahadi, you are going to make notes from today onwards. You can leave few pages. Just leave 3 pages or 4 pages. And from here onwards, you can start. Okay. So you will be writing hashtag industrial sector during the British colonial rule, and then you'll write why India's world famous handicraft industries collapsed. Okay. And the answer is the rule of British government led to the collapse of this and this over here. Okay. And then next one you'll be writing what were the effect, or you can directly write effect of decline of India's world famous handicraft industry. So what happened, how it affected? First, it created unemployment. Second, it created new demand. Now there is a consumer market in India because import of cheap manufactured goods from Britain, it increased. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. I'm done.
Okay, others? Done?
Done, ma'am.
Done.
No. Now, basically, see, deindustrialization. Ma'am, what is deindustrialization? Deindustrialization is basically, industrialization means increasing industries. Deindustrialization means not even promoting. Deindustrialization, for example, you have, just a minute. For example, you have this industry, one industry. Okay, if you are increasing the industry, it is industrialization, right? But if you are not increasing your industries, plus you are reducing your industries, right? That is opposite D, opposite of industrialization, right? So what happened? Basically, Britishers focused on deindustrialization. Why? Because we had handicraft industries, they collapsed it, right? And similarly, they never helped us to grow more industries, right? So what there was the like behind that, why they were doing this deindustrialization? Because they have two motive behind that. So what was twofold motive? First, the intention was to reduce India from the status of mere exporter of important raw material for the upcoming modern industries in Britain, and second, to turn India into sprawling market for the finished product of those industries, so that their continued expansion could be ensured the maximum advantage of their home country Britain. Okay, so first was basically to make India the exporter of raw material. So what you will write first, the intention was to make India the exporter of important raw material for the modern industries, for the upcoming modern industry. Whatever modern industries are being, constructed in Britain, they need raw material, right? For example, if you want to make this, if you want to construct an industry, you need raw material, right? You need wood, you need cement, and all that products, right? So basically, the intention was to make India the exporter. You will be writing. Just a minute, I'll just wait. Okay, so basically the first intention was to make India exporter of important raw material for the upcoming modern industries in Britain. So first motive was that they wanted India to become the exporter of raw material. Clear? Second, to turn India into sprawling markets. For sprawling market means spreaded market. Okay, for the finished good, right? Of those industries, so that their continued expansion can be, so that maximum advantage so that maximum advantage can be so that of their home industries can be ensured. Okay, clear? So what you're going to write in second point? First, they wanted India to become the exporter of raw material. Second, they wanted India to become the market for the finished good. For example, I took wood from India, okay, and I made furniture from that. I made a chair of that. So that chair I'll be bringing in India, and there I'll be selling it. So first I am taking raw material free of cost, and after that also I am selling whatever I'm making. I'm selling in that country. I am using your product. Plus I'm sharing the things to you only. So this is what two motive, right? From one thing they were doing two things. So first they were making India the raw material supplier. Second, they were making India the market for finished good of those industries, the industry which they were preparing there, so that maximum advantage of their home country can be ensured. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Others? Okay. So first you'll be writing this. First you'll be writing a hashtag twofold motive behind systematic deindustrialization effected by Britain. First, the intention was to make India exporter of important raw material for the upcoming modern industries in Britain till here. And then second, to make India, to turn India into sprawling market for the finished product of those industries, so that till here you'll be writing, so that the maximum advantage of their home country can be ensured. Clear? You know how to make the notes?
Yes.
Okay, writing down.
Done.
Done.
Everyone done?
Yes.
Madhi, done? Okay, I'll just wait for 1 more minute, then we'll start.
Yes, ma'am. Done. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So now we'll move to next thing, which is modern industrial sector during the second half of 19th century. Okay. So ma'am, now what is modern industrial sector? As I told you, what Britishers were doing, they were like over here, they said that demolish this handicraft industry, we will focus on modern industries, right? So now modern industry sector during second half of 19th century, the modern industry began to take roots in India during the second half of 19th century. So you have to remember this as well, like when modern industries started their root in India. So during the second half of 19th century. Okay. So what happened? Initially, this development was conformed to setting up cotton and jute textile mill. So they started from cotton and jute textile mill. Okay. The cotton textile mill mainly dominated by Indians. There were two mills, cotton textile mill and second was jute textile mill. Okay. So talking about cotton textile mill, the cotton textile mill was mainly dominated by Indians. Okay. And this basically were located in the western part of country, namely Maharashtra, Gujarat. Okay, this cotton textile was dominated by India, and this was in western part of India, mainly Maharashtra and Gujarat. Okay, while the jute mills or the jute textile mills, they were dominated. Dominated means majority of the people were foreigners, and in cotton textile, majority of people were Indians. Okay, jute textile mill dominated by foreigners were mainly concentrated in Bengal. Okay, so cotton was mainly concentrated in Maharashtra and Gujarat, but it was concentrated in Bengal. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Now, subsequently, like apart from along with all this, the iron and steel industries began coming in the beginning of 20th century. The Tata Iron and Steel Industries were incorporated in 1907. So you have to first remember when Tisco came in India. First, so now the question is modern industry. So first industries were cotton and jute textile. Second, it was a steel plant, which is known as Tisco. The first steel plant in India was iron and steel plant was Tisco, which second industries came for this iron and steel industries. Okay. And apart from all this, a few industries in the field of sugar, cement, paper, etc. came up after the end of World War. So first, jute and cotton industry. Second, iron and steel industry. Third, many other like paper, cement, sugar, all this. Okay, so these were the modern industries in India. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so you can write hashtag modern industrial sector in this, and then you can write it down.
Ma'am, done.
Done.
Sanya done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we'll be doing shortfall of industrial policies pursued by British colonial administration. Okay. So basically, whatever policies British adopted in field of industries, there were some negative point as well, right? So shortfalls means it was not too good, right? That's why there was a criticism as well. So first, slow progress. So the progress of modern industries, though they introduced modern industries, right? Like the cotton industries, jute textile, the Cisco and all that. But the progress remains slowed. Why they didn't contribute for the progress? Because if they invested in that field, that means India will be growing. That's why they kept the progress slow always. The progress of modern industries remained very slow. Second, lack of capital good. Now, ma'am, what are capital good? So, capital good are basically those good which help in production of other good. Okay. For example, if you have for example, printing machine, right? Printing machine is capital good. Why? Because with the help of this machine, you will be printing books, right? So this machine is helping in production of other good. That's why is a capital good. Okay. And the industries who produce capital goods, they are known as capital industries. Okay. So capital good industries means industries which can produce machines, tools, which are in turn used for producing articles for the current consumption. Okay. So which are used for production of some other product, and where this industry, this printer will be produced, that will be the industry that will be known as capital good industry. Okay, capital goods are basically those goods which help in production of other goods, and capital good industries are those industries who produce these machines and tools which are going to help in production of the product of other good and for the current consumption. Okay, so there was no capital good. For example, I want to produce books, right? In my industry, I want to produce book, but if I don't have printing machine, how will I print book? Right? Because of that also there was no production, there was no development in industrial sector. So lack of capital good, there was hardly any capital good industry to help promote industrialization in India. So there was hardly, you can say one or two, not more than that. If I don't have capital good industry, then how I will get that product or get those machines because of which I can do production, right? With the help of those product, or with the help of those machines, I can do further production. There was nothing. So that's why also industrial sector remained backward. Okay. Next, no substitute to countries' traditional handicraft industries. See, you people know that Indians were very good in handicraft industries. It enjoyed worldwide market and all that. So, for example, you people are very good in economics right now. Okay. But when your exam came, I gave you the question paper of science. I gave you the question paper of physics. Like, can you do that? No. Right. So, this was the situation with India, that no substitute means somewhere, for example, if economics teacher is absent, some other teacher will be coming to your class, that is substitute in place of that. So what happened, in place of handicraft industries, Britishers should introduce some industries which are related to handicraft. Why? Because people knew that work, that okay, they knew what are handicraft industries, what are all that. Okay, basically capital good industries were there, no substitute was there. The establishment of few manufacturing units was no substitute to near wholesale displacement of country's traditional handicraft industry. So whatever industries they allotted, whatever industries they produced or they constructed, they were not related to handicraft, they were something new, right? You can say Tisco, cotton and all that, they are not related to handicraft. So that's why displacement, wholesale, it totally displaced the handicraft industries apart from giving substitution. We wanted substitution. Okay, not handicraft industry. Okay, somewhere this industry which is related to handicraft. But no, instead of giving substitution, they gave the displacement. Clear? Displacement means totally remove handicraft industry. Clear? Second point, third point.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Halima, Madi.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now low growth rate. So the growth rate of new industrial sector and its contribution to the GDP was slow, was very small. Why? Because there was no production. So how will I see who is going to contribute in GDP? The person who is earning, right? But industrial sector, there was no production, so there was no money in the industrial sector. So that's why they were contributing very less. So that's why the growth rate of new industrial sector and its contribution to GDP remained very small. Okay, clear? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Next was limited area of operation of public sector. So there are two sectors. One is public, like the government sector, and the other one is private sector. Okay, so public sector was very less. Why? Because if everything was under government, then government is going to do social welfare and all that, right? But public, like the private sector, they never think about the economic growth and all that. They only think about their profit. So very limited area of operation of public sector. Like another significant drawback of new industrial sector was the very limited area of operation of public sector. The sector remained confined only to railway, power generation, communication, ports, and some other department and undertaking. So, for example, if this industrial sector was under public, right, then there are high chances that this sector will be growing. But public, it was not under public sector. Under public sector, only railways, power generation, communication, ports were there. Okay, so because of that, there was limited operation, there was drawback. This was a drawback because nothing was done. Nothing I can, for example, it is not under me. So how can I contribute it? How can I improve the status? No. So there was limited operation of public sector. That's why also this sector remained backward. Okay, industrial sector. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, so the
Yes.
first is okay. First is slow progress. Second is lack of capital good industries. You're going to write this as well, like what do you understand by capital good industry? Third, no substitute was given to the traditional handicrafts, though they replaced it. Displacement was given instead of substitution. Third, low growth rate. The growth rate was very low. Because of that, it contributed very less in GDP. Plus, public sector was not under this, like industry sector was not under public sector. The sector which was given to public was railways, power generation, and all that. And because of that, also sector remained back. Clear? So
Yes.
you will write hashtag shortfall of industrial policies pursued by British colonial industrialization. Then first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Done.
Okay, everyone done?
Done.
Okay, I'll just wait for one more minute. Madhi, you are done? Madhi here. Okay, Madhi left. Madhi is facing network issues. Okay. So now, girls, we are going to do few questions. Okay. Here. Name some modern industries which were in operations in our country at the time of independence. So what you will write over here? Check your notes. Who will tell me the answer? Just check your notes. Name some modern industries which were in operation in our country at the time of independence. Check your
Iron
notes.
and steel, cotton and jute textile,
Very good. Last one.
sugar, cement, paper.
Very good. Yes. So basically there were three industries, right? First was cotton and jute textile mills. Second, iron and steel industry. Third, few more industry like sugar, cement and paper. Okay. Next, Mahadi, you are going to tell me define capital good industry. Just check your notes where you have written capital good industries and explain me. Just check your notes and just read it out. Mahadi, can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am. Just a minute.
Okay. So Mahadi, you are going to tell me what are capital good industries. Just check your notes. I hope you have written it. Yeah, the capital good industries portion. You left it. You wrote it, Mahadi? No,
Yes,
I think.
I wait.
Just start.
Yes, I did.
Just
I did. I
just
did.
write it down. You are not audible.
Oh.
Okay. If you are not done, I'm just giving you 5 minutes, 2 minutes to write it down. Girls, till then you can give it a reading. This one.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, capital good industry means industries which can produce machine tools which are in turn used for producing articles for current consumption.
Yes. Very good. Okay. Good one. Okay. Next question is name the area of operation of public sector under the British colonial rule. Sanya, did you get the question?
Um,
Name the area of operation of the public sector under the British colonial rule. Just tell me the answer. Check your notes.
Railways, power generation, then communication, then departmental undertakings.
Okay. Yes. So basically, railway, power generation, communications, and demand, and some other departmental undertaking. Good. Good, sir. Okay. So students, I'm giving you 5 minutes. Whatever we did today, like for the industrial sector, just quickly give it a reading because tomorrow we'll not tomorrow, day after tomorrow we'll be starting with the for this foreign trade and then foreign trade plus infrastructure. 3 portions are left which we'll be doing. So quickly revise it, industrial sector, and let me know if you're facing any issue. I'm giving you 5 minutes for this. Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Any query or anything which you are not getting in this sector? No? Yes? Maybe?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. So we'll be doing, I hope you people are completing your assignments on time, right? And we'll be starting with foreign trade from tomorrow, like from next class itself. Okay?
Okay.